Thank you for staying with Daybreak. We're having a conversation of the life after Raila Odinga from the young people's perspective and the young leaders who are with me here already in studio. Tieno Mokaya is an advocate of the High Court on the upper deck. Honorable Obed Mwale is a member of the County Assembly of Matisi Ward in Trans Nzoia. He's also the Deputy Speaker of Trans Nzoia County Assembly. Thank you for making time. We also Gweno, Youth Governance Expert. Asante sana for making time. Mgeni Mboto Hassan, Communication Strategist. Thank you for making time. Mark Uko, Youth Affairs Coordinator, National Students Council of Kenya. Thank you for making time. And Mudhoni Mburu, Advocate of the High Court. Thank you very much for making time. And Bruce, I was coming to you on this. When you started by describing who Raila was, you mentioned that he created a democratic space that eventually turned against him. I'd like to hear what you meant by that. And also, when you said that he needed to reconcile with the young people at the height of the Mandamano, who was right between Raila's direction and the young people? Because the young people wanted this to continue to the logical end, notwithstanding that nobody knew what that logical end was about. But then Raila said that this is the time for reconciliation. The young people protested this.
Trevor, normally they say that age comes with wisdom. And first and foremost, before it skipped my mind, there was the element of, did he get a flower? That brings something to my mind that really life is a fickle. At the point that President William Ruto saw it fit that this is the time for the gentleman to get a flower, death came knocking. And one thing that we must appreciate as a country, and particularly as young people, is that we have a cohort of very few men who are ahead of us, who lived and walked the talk of a democratic space, lived and walked the talk to build a country that can hold for its generation. That generation is us and the Gen Zs. It is unfortunate that at the time that this country got chaotic, we really didn't pause to ask ourselves, what is the war? What are we fighting for? That is a question that many of young people today really still don't understand. We might be talking about that we want life to be easy on Wanjiku, as my brother was saying, but where are we as a nation, and where are we headed to, and where have we come from? How has it been before? We are moving from a state where we want to come from third world country to a developed country. What are the sacrifices that a people at that particular time in that movement have to put down? We must also acknowledge that we had our forefathers who made sacrifices to fight the colonies. They laid down their lives for that, and that actually made other people have entitlement in this country. So the generation today, if we are moving Kenya from a third world war country to a developed country, what are the sacrifices we must make? Is it about paying tax? Is it about making a decision to give much for our country, for a future generation that will be talking about us like we're talking about Raila today? Raila and Raila in his death should be a lesson to many of us. This is a man who has struggled in the streets. And I wanted to remind my brother that I've been in the streets for 15 years. Trevor, I'm not going back to the streets. I can say that Raila being on the streets for more than 30 years has gotten fruits and has given us platforms that we can raise issues beyond going to the streets. We have platforms at the legislative framework, assemblies or whatever, where we can air issues and see. At some point in this country, when we started the movements as the youth, some years back, we were saying we wanted a space to be where the cake is baked and cut. That time, for example, if you looked at the National Assembly then, majority were people who were above 50. Today, we have a good number of young people who are youthful. That is a platform. We need to be asking them questions. Even if there were 10 or 20, that is enough to address the issues that we feel we should take from the streets or get from the streets. Every now and then, we want to take a decision as a country and young people that the solution is in the streets, we are making a wrong decision. And we will have nothing to show because the street destroys. Just like my brother said that the streets will raise the flag, but it comes a time the flag goes down and the bullet goes high.
So when you say you're not going back to the street, is this because you're done fighting for the rights, or is it because now you're passing the mantle to the younger generation? Is it because Raila is now no longer there, therefore your watch is done, your fight is done?
I'm not going to the streets because already they have platforms set that can address the issues that even the Gen Zs are calling us to address. The issue of economy, there are platforms we can address it. There are conversations we can have, including the presidency has lowered its down to a point that we can engage him directly, formally or informally. And we normally privilege to get to have information, to challenge the government, to seek clarification from the government. So Trevor, there are dark days when we didn't even know what the government was planning to do. There are dark days that Raila and the team walked through this country that we didn't even know what a budget was. Today, every Kenyan, every youth has a budget. What more responsibility do we need to do? We just need to check and say, if we had, for example, 10 million targeting development of youth programs, where has it reached? Who are the youths that have benefited? So we have a platform that is already created. We have policies that are in these countries and the laws that are in these countries that we just need to follow up on how best we can do it. And as you take back, I wanted to say that where Raila sits right now in the cold, I think much of what we need to do is to have a self-talk to us as a nation. Raila had the option of joining the streets, but on asking a big questions. That if Ruto goes, what next? That means he was pointing to us that are we going to water down the constitutional gains we've had in this country? Are we going to sweep them under the carpet like that? Because we have a process even of removing the president. Right, even in the assembly. Yes.
Let me bring in Mgeni. What you said earlier on is almost related to what Bruce is raising now, saying that it was never really about the title, but more about the ideology of the person who holds that title. Have things gotten better since Maandamano in your estimation?
I would like to look at it this way. See, the sacrifices and the legacy and the foundations that he intentionalized, laid down. It would be an insult for this generation and the Gen Z to go back to the streets because he already did that for us. He made it so easy for us to be sitting here right now. So the sacrifices is made for this country should be us giving his flowers in a way that he has already done the sacrifices because he's already done the protests and Maandamano to get us where we are. The multi-party democracy had to go through that. He got us here. And every time he sacrificed, he was not sacrificing because or was sabotaging himself in any way. He was not about that title. He was sacrificing because he was looking at the other generations to come. So when our father sacrificed for us so that he can give us something to start with in our lives, it would be an insult for us not to take that legacy. See how he built it, on the ideologies that he built around it. Find out what is the best way forward to pave this. Example, when he said that, I'm sure he said that Maandamano was the way to go in one or two other editions. But when he felt that it is not the protest, the Gen Z protest, when he felt like it was losing, the streets was losing the credibility because there was a lot of infiltration in it. When he felt that it was losing the credibility because some people, opportunistic political class, started taking advantage of a very, very genuine movement and decided to use it to get titles and the entitlement that they deserve. For him, he said, now, let's come together. Let's unify it. And the framework that I'm going to lay down before you is anchored in the very constitution that we have already fought for. So where do we need to start? We need to start in the areas of how do we now move forward. And that is where the 10-point agenda comes in. The NADCO report comes in. Because he understood that we've already put up a lot of platform, we've already put up policies, we've already put up administrative and all the systems. We are now here talking about a beautiful system called devolution because of him. We are here earning those fruits because of him, of the tree that is planted, the shed that he's giving us. So it will be very insulting to his legacy.
Okay.
And it will not be us giving his flowers. For us to give him his flowers is actually, in our community, when an elder dies, people gather around together. They come together in this homestead, and they sit there in the shadows of the place they actually was and analyze what is it next for us in the future. They don't go fighting every other relative and every other person because the heir has died.
Okay.
They sit and antagonize and understand what was it that he was fighting for and how can we now embrace that. See the sacrifices made, take it upon us and advance. Okay. So for me, I will say that it is important for young people to look at, have we intentionalized and acted to understand the Constitution? Have we really understand devolution? Where should we also anchor our so-called protests or our cries? Should we not now cave it into our regional representation or our representation in the devolution and actually now put a lot of people accountable?
Yeah.
Put MPs accountable, put MCAs accountable, put governors accountable, because that is the whole concept of why we have devolution.
Okay.
And not mirror everything around a national platform that has already been decentralized in that manner.
All right. Mark, have things gotten better now since the Mandamano in your own assessment, or is it bado mapambano, the way His Excellency Simbarati mentioned in Kisii? You actually mentioned this during the burial. He said that the fight is still going on. But as a young person yourself, since the Mandamano and the protest and everything that came after it, all the sacrifices that people made, have things gotten better?
I think, Trevor, before I answer your question, there's something I think very important I left in my preamble remarks. I think it's very important, and give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. It's very important that we really do appreciate what President Ruto, and I think this was even lamented by, Governor James Orengo, in coordination with, people like Deputy President and PS Raymond Omolo, the stature, the state burial that was accorded to Raila Amolo Odinga, albeit not even deserves his, albeit not being a sitting president or even a commander of the military. What President Ruto did for Raila Amolo Odinga is something I think people from my community will not forget. And in the infamous word of President Uhuru Kenyatta, we shall revisit at the right time. Now, back to your question. I think Raila Amolo Odinga spoke for a silent, for how do I call it, the silent majority of Kenyans. And I think, in my own words, I think there was a social illusion that was created that Raila Amolo Odinga was hated by young people, which is not true. Even if you look at the magnanimity of how people turned up when they had Raila Amolo Odinga died, young people loved Raila Odinga. And I think, in my own assessment, I think there was a social algorithm that was created by some people. In fact, in the infamous word of Raila Amolo Odinga, is that the ferment has been created by people who also believe they have to be in power. But going to your question, have things got better? In my own view, I think the country is in a much stable place. And even if you are to give much other geographical reference, do countries which have, successively done a coup, a civilian coup to remove those in power. Look at Nepal, look at Bangladesh, and I think more recently a country such as even Madagascar. Are those countries in a more stable place? The answer is no. And I think this is where, in his own wisdom, to reiterate even the words that was being said, my brother, Odinga was trying to give us the bigger picture. If our country was able to disintegrate into chaos, into a state where there is no civilian government, the other side doesn't look better. And I think the broad-based government has been able to stabilize the country. There is much more cohesion. And I think what Raila Odinga was also alluding to in his ideological belief is that, albeit we do disagree in our views and our opinions, let us respect the Constitution. And it is not a far-fetched idea, even if you want to remove somebody in power. the quickest example is Rigathi Gachagua. He was able to be impeached. It's not like we do not have constitutional means where when somebody is incapacitated in power is not being able to remove. And this is what ideological Raila Modo stood for. Let us respect the constitution. And he says this, and in my final remark perhaps, that it takes a day to destroy a nation, but the process of building a nation is a lifetime investment.
Okay, Mudhoni, have things gotten better in your assessment?
Let me say that, in the words of Winston Churchill, that leaders are dealers of hope. And if there's anything that Baba sold to the masses and to the Kenyans was hope. He was really a dealer of hope. He would tell people, we are going to Canaan. We are going to Canaan. Meaning that there'll be a time when things will be better, you know? Even if he didn't live through to see the of everything that he championed for. And that also shows the successful nature, or the nature of success and how intergenerational, how each generation has a role to play. So he played his part, took the nation to a particular point. The late Oginga Odinga and Kenyatta played their role, took the baton to the likes of Martha Karua and Baba. Now the baton has been passed to the young people. And will things get better? Will we still go out to protest? I've had that debate of, will we still go out? Oh yes, we will still go out and protest when things are not right in our nation. We will exercise what we have been given by Article 37, because that is what Baba has championed for. Through his life and through what he fought for, we have seen him through and through the detention, through the fight for democracy, through and through, we have seen Baba fighting for. He has been fighting even for the media, the members of the Fourth Estate. And even during the demonstration, did he condemn some aspects of the demonstration? Oh, yes, he did. He did protect and defend Article 37, but still went ahead to criticize heavily the police excessive use of force. He did condemn that. Did he condemn the lives that were lost? He categorically came out and stated that what had happened. He called for the government to do that. And part of even fighting for Article 37 and the right to protest, we have come forward as advocates, as, you know, leaders, to even exercise and call for habeas corpus when people are being abducted. So the fight will not end with the passing of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And let me also send this as also a symbol of hope to the nation and to the people and to the young people. If we look at all these other developed countries, they have indeed come a long way. America being one of the examples of the countries that we look at and we see, we have seen them having so many years. Europe also as a continent, we've seen over 400 years. Kenya is barely 65, I believe, less than 65 years old. We have a long way to go. And each Kenyan citizen has a responsibility to play in making the Kenya that we want, or that Baba envisioned. Okay.
Mokaya, let me bring you back on this. And this question I want all of you to respond to. Have you gotten better since the Maandamano? Because this is really the crux of the matter. And you can mention the one thing that you think has worked. Because even on the front page of the Daily Nation, you can see another cabinet reshuffle is looming, Ruto after Raila. There's still some level of separation of the issue of have things gotten better or not? Are they better or worse now?
That is a very direct question, yet a trick question. Because better is better. It depends on what you're looking at. It also depends on the angle that you're looking at it from. Their drivers, when they see the empty signal on the tank of their car, they'll tell you, I know my car. The drivers, when they see a half tank on the car, they say, we need to add some gas to this car. So are things about to get better? That is a function of many moving parts. But again, as my fellow panelists have said, maandamano or even protests are a constitutional right, but it's a qualified constitutional right, peaceably and unarmed. Towards what? Presenting petitions to administrative bodies, not towards somebody's shop, not towards somebody's life, not towards breaching parliament, not towards breaching State House. So maandamano will do, but we'll do maandamano for a reason. We'll not do maandamano because that's the cool thing to do. We'll do maandamano because we have been aggrieved. But before we go to the streets, I'll advise my people, especially the people of these age groups, to use the tools that we have. The first tool we have is elect people of sensible character to parliament. Have you taken your first step to a better country by taking your vote? Number two, have you presented yourself for elective position? If you have not, have you voted in, not to vote people out, have you voted for good leadership? Have you voted for someone in parliament with capacity to understand the effect of the laws that they pass? Because we can't wait to say that the president has signed into law what your parliamentarians did not comment on. Was your parliamentarian, did he have capacity to comment on the finance bill? Did he have the capacity to read and comprehend what it means for you? If a law has been passed that aggrieves you, I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Before I go to the street with a flag, water, and an iPhone, have I gone to court to seek conservatory orders to stay the execution of that law until the issues that I have been addressed? There's public participation in our constitution. When Parliament advertised for memoranda to be submitted, did I continue to watch my Netflix movie, or did I take time even to use the tools that I have, including AI, to create a memoranda that speaks on my behalf and send that to the speaker, so that I say that the parliamentarian that I voted, who's so brilliant and educated, did not speak for me? Then the president that I voted for, not the president that I voted out, the president that I voted for, did not sign to law the law that I deserve. Then as a lawyer, I'll say I went to court and I was not heard. And if I went to court that I was not heard, also my memorandum was overlooked, then what is my option? Take the memoranda myself through song, dance, demonstration, and then deposit it in parliament. So that is the hierarchy of actions.
Yeah.
You don't start by wailing. You start by talking. Because when we start talking to each other, then peace is an option. When we start talking at each other, somebody will say, my people, when you hear somebody from where I come from say, kwa hivyo, unataka aje? It means it's about to stop. We are about to stop talking. So that is the hierarchy of steps towards changing this country. Okay. But we can't be lovers of anarchy. We can't be lovers of anything that is it's disorderly. Mm-hmm. We have lives to protect, we have Kenya to protect, and we have a constitution that's so elaborate, touted to be one of the best constitutions in the world. First, use it. Let's test the limits of the constitution. Let's test the boundaries of the constitution. Then go to maandamano. Is our lives better? Your life and my life as a young person are a reflection of how much effort I put, how much opportunities I take advantage of, how much I do to better myself. It's not a function of government. It's not a function of the politique. There's no politician whose biggest role or biggest duty is to change my life. The politician or government is to create an enabling environment so that everybody who puts effort gets success. Everybody who tries to better themselves realizes the results. If I want to be a doctor, I won't wait for a politician to make me a doctor. I go to school, I work through the free primary education, I go to university through the HELB scholarship, then I apply for that job, then I become a doctor.
Okay. I see Mudoni has a concern about that. I'll just write it down. I'll come to you so that you talk about it, especially when you talked about the opportunities availed to the young people. But the other question that I would also ask you is, are they even aware of those opportunities? When you ask a young person, do they even know what opportunities exist right now? If, for example, there's the Nyota that the government is talking about, have they even applied? Do they know what it's about? Do they understand what it's supposed to be?
Maybe a rejoinder of that, Trevor. We can't sit here on national television and heckle arguments by analysts. We sit here and wait for our chance and voice our opinion.
She will. She's decided to write it down.
Let's wait for that.
Yeah.
You are an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. You know where the law school is. You know how much it costs. You know what it takes to get a scholarship. You get? You know by C+ and above you'll get a loan from HELP.
Yeah.
So let's not focus on the few opportunities that we can criticize. Let's focus on what government, the role of government is. The role of government will not start a business for you. Government will create an enabling environment for you to access credit, for you to access education. So let's question based on function. Okay. Let's question because we have to question.
All right. Let me bring in Mwale on this, Mheshimiwa. Have things gotten better since the Mandamano? And we know, Mgeni also mentioned that the likes of yourselves, like Mheshimiwa, should now be held to account as a member of County Assembly. What are you doing in your own little capacity? Because you also passed the CIDPs, County Integrated Development Plans, for the counties. So people should now start asking you questions. But have things gotten better since Mandamano, in your view?
Trevor, I think it's a tragedy. You know, the greatest threat to democracy is political sycophancy. And our generation is the most unfortunate, the millennials. The millennials have faced so much economic challenges, financial hurdles, to the point that they have decided to become political sycophants so that they can fend for their families. And I would not sit here as an elected leader and also as and speak it to national television that I cannot sacrifice, go to the streets and demonstrate for the sake of the younger generation that cannot do that. That is a tragedy. Secondly, since the Gen Z's Mandamano to date, I think we have not achieved anything. And I would like to tell the entire Kenyans, not even the panelists, that we can easily forgive a child that is afraid of the dark. But the tragedy of the world is grown men and women who are afraid of the light. They cannot face the truth just because of their political inclinations. Put it in record, Trevor, that I am an MCA and Deputy Speaker of the UDA party. I was elected under ANC that merged with UDA. Now I'm a UDA member. And it is my obligation to tell the government that you are not doing it right. And let's reminisce. Let's take it back. What led to the demonstrations? What provoked the young people to go to the streets and picket? The first was opulence from the leaders who are elected. Now, the question to the Kenyans today, did the president keep his promise that there would be reduced opulence from the elected leaders, especially at a time when the deputy president is no longer doing his constitutional duties as a deputy president? The deputy president right now is actually chairman of Harambes, going around villages in this country, portraying opulence, donating large sums of money. They don't know where it is coming from, and they cannot even give an explanation to that. Secondly, the reason why the young people went to the streets is because they could see that the economy was not doing well. And the government keeps telling us that the economy is doing better, that the indicators are even much better. As an economist, I for sure know the indicators for a growing economy. One of them, let us look at the unemployment rates in this country. Are they going up or going down? It is massive. Very many young people are coming from university, graduates with degrees, others with master's degrees, others with PhDs, but the government is not providing job opportunities for them. As much as my brother here, the advocate, has said that it is upon them to put it to young people to look for jobs, but that is not how government works. The reason why we have democracy in this country is so that we can elect leaders who can create a suitable environment to get the jobs, but that is not the situation in Kenya. Secondly, let us speak about issues in this country. Let us move away from individuals. We cannot come here to thank the president for doing what he ought to have done. Raila Odinga was a statesman. Raila Odinga fought for this country. Whether he could have given him a state burial or not, we Kenyans would have demanded that this statesman be given that. And even if the government would not have stood in that position, we the Kenyans, the people, who are even stronger than the people in power, would have accorded Raila Odinga the respect that he deserves. The other thing that is troubling us as a nation is that almost every entity seems to be succumbing to political sycophancy. Look at the religious institutions. Religious institutions that would for a certain time stand for the truth are even going to State House to get handouts. And this is a culture that this regime, the Kenya Kwanza regime, has decided to sell to the people. That if you question the government, they would call you for handouts. If you complain for anything, speak about mutilations to the constitutions that have been done, got advocates here. And in Raila Odinga's words, he clearly says that the freedom that we must jealously protect is the freedom of speech. Okay. But as on the day that Raila Odinga died, the president actually assented to an amendment of a bill that in one way or another was trying to curtail our freedom as Kenyans. And the constitution is very clear on the limitations of liberties of Kenyans. You do not just wake up and decide that because something that is being said might be a threat to my leadership, then we should curtail that. Speak about the cost of living. Yeah. The president has just introduced a charge to the air passengers that even without proper public participation, even without considering the fact that very many Kenyans are going through difficult economic times, he cares not about that. And we are here trying to say that the country is going in the right direction, that we achieved whatever the Gen Zs actually wanted to achieve. Finally, yeah. The reason why the Gen Zs went to the streets was not to award some individuals. That is what we never got right. And when Raila Odinga was alive, at no point did I hear him say that he actually proposed the names to President William Ruto. And this is politics. And we all know how politics works. That politics is a game of playing this card and playing the other card so that you ensure that the political scenario goes in your favor. Yeah. We, the young people, start for this country. We wanted accountability. As a leader, I'm also an elected leader. Very many people ask of better from me. I also ask for better from the governor that represents me, the women rep, the president himself. And the moment some few individuals were actually rewarded so that we can appease communities, that is where we got it wrong. Okay. Gen Zs clearly said that they do not identify themselves with any community. Okay. They were tribeless. So can we get it right and just accept for a fact that we have not made any progress, and the government must look back, or else what happened might happen again.
Okay. Bruce, have we made any progress? Because this is a contentious
That is very relative. Yeah. But just let me echo a few sentiments, echo back what he said. That is where the problem is, Trevor. My good brother here and friend is actually addressing the government. I'm wondering which government is he addressing, and he is the government. He is the government. That is where the fallacy is. We have a system in this nation that defines to us what the government is. The government is not just the executive. When we are calling the government to order, we must make it known that we are talking about the executive, the legislative wing, and the judiciary. There is nothing that is going to set aside one wing to post that we are doing better than the other. It is a collective responsibility, because all of them take it from our taxes. So when an elected member of county assembly talks about a government, he's like he's standing from a distance. He is the government. The issues he's saying is to go to the streets. He has a platform where he can address them. And I'm not against article that is giving room for Kenyans to demonstrate. I support it because I participated in ensuring that that new constitution came. I started demonstrating at 19, that was around 2007. Demonstrating for a new constitution, and we got it in 2010. Does it have platform to hold my brakes of going to the streets? Because before that, we would easily go to the streets. Raila amekoa kidogo, we are in the streets. One of the achievements of this constitution we have is devolution. It plays a very critical role in ensuring that we address the issues that are challenging the youths, the issues as to why we went to the streets, or the young people went to the streets. At our county levels, are we addressing them? He is the government at the county level, and even at the national level. So we must push the leaders to own their responsibilities, and not to sit at a particular corner and push particular individuals in the name of government and harass them on matters that are already well articulated in the Constitution. Okay. That means that we don't respect our Constitution. Number two, if you ask that what has been achieved, it means there was something. Why did the young people go to the streets? Generally, what I can gather from the social media and other platforms where they were airing their issues, it was about the economy. And Trevor, President William Ruto and his government did not come from his village to the government with his economy. We found an existing economy. I'm not an economist, neither am I an expert, but I read and follow how the trend is in this country. It is borrowed. There was an economy of Kenyatta. There was an economy of Moi. There was an economy of Kibaki. And then there was an economy of Uhuru Kenyatta. All these economies have been running based on their budgets, isn't it? And every economy grows based on the opportunity and the need and how the country is tailored towards an objective. And our key objective as a country, we want to move to a developed country.
Yeah.
And that is why I ask ourselves that, what is our responsibility as young people today? Our forefathers had their responsibilities. The cohort of Raila Odinga, they had their responsibility. And I'm sure that as he walked to the grave, he's satisfied that he has achieved and he has left a legacy.
Okay.
So what do we pick from? Me and you, we have to make sure that we understand what we are fighting for. We are fighting to make Kenya to a developed world. That is not fought by stones.
Okay.
It is a matter of economy.
All right.
Economy calls for me and you to give.
Okay.
So what we really need to have a conversation about is the issue of integrity, the issue of corruption, which I think this government is trying to give room for every institution. Look at what is happening at the EACC. It is rebranding itself. It is around. Even the political class that are associated with the president, are facing the axe. We have people from our communities we know that are president friends, and they are facing the law because they are accused of particular corruption-related issues.
Okay.
So that tells that the government has the spirit and the goodwill to challenge and address the issues that took the young people to the streets.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let me bring in Mgeni on this and flip that question now. So what should the president do now to stabilize the ship heading into the 2027? Because we've seen, even on the headlines, it's there, Ruto after Raila. We've had conversations. There's a battle line almost being drawn now. There's a one-term, there's a two-term. So what should he do? That's a reality that we're facing. What should he do now to stabilize the ship heading into 2027 and speak to the aspirations of the young people?
The future also, how we should do it, we should also emulate history on how it was done. Over and over again, I think one of the lessons that Baba gave us was how every time he will come and be in support of the current regime so as to serve Kenya as a whole in a holistic, bigger picture. And the president spoke very clearly. I think what was said, you need to read between the lines, but he spoke very clearly at Bondo when he was doing the farewell speech. And he said that there was a binding commitment. There was a chemistry, enough consultations between him and Baba to the point that they came together and actually pointed out the areas of working together, the areas of synergy, and the future of how we should move forward as a country. And those areas, he has made adamant progressive policies, adamant progressive, intentional to be committed to those 10-point agendas that he is. And that is his way of saying, I am still committed to this because we understood where we come from and where we have to head. Even echoing the words of Magufuli, alisema lazima tukaze kwamba kwanza ndo tuelekee mbele. It's a simple, very simple principle, but it means sometimes we have to look at the bigger picture. And I think the vision, the economic transformative agenda that the president has been championing will come to life. But we cannot put blame on an economy that has existed way back. We are still paying debts that Kibaki took in all those areas. And we were among the people that were about to be crucified because we were not paying accordingly. And we were only actually out of the 5 countries that were being defaulted. We had to sacrifice, and Kenya sacrificed. The president had to make the hard decision of sacrificing so that we do not get defaulted, so that we are not in a very bad place in the economy. Because we can be worse and we can be good, we can be average. So when we say that, have he thought about what young people progressively? Yes, he has. He has, because he would make sure that, one, the young people are heard. The young people are heard and included in every decision. That is where public participation is, and that is where he made it very clear that he's willing to work with anyone who wants to work to progress the economy or to progress Kenya as a whole. And he was very clear in his speech also that he is taking even further steps and saying, if ODM will stabilize, ODM will either be in government or will form the next government. Because he understands the institution that Baba has built for that, because of the progressive nature that he wants it to be. So when you say, has there been any steps? I will say yes. There has been deliberate steps and commitments to make sure the young people are heard, the young people are listened to.
Okay.
And he cannot overturn everything that was done ages ago into one night.
Okay.
But he's trying with the new change. He's saying that I cannot be able to provide jobs for the millions of Kenya because this environment is not allowing. But here we are. We are putting up environment that is conducive for young people to go even outside to get jobs.
Do the young people understand what that initiative is about?
Yes,
because most of the people who speak about the Nyota initiative somehow don't understand where it's starting, where it's heading, who's getting the money, when, how, why. Do the young people understand? Or is that where the problem begins, that there's a lack of information, dissemination to the grassroots?
Trevor, can I?
Yeah, you'll get a chance.
I believe that is where most of the weakness is.
Yeah.
In my assessment, that is how I will assess it. Nyota is a very good initiative. And it's a very deliberate attempt to get young people to understand that it is important for us to have capital. I know he might not be able to do it for every other Kenyan, but then the fact that it's been streamlined to the MCA level, to the ward level, that is also echoing the whole concept of decentralization and devolution. So it is also important for our MCAs, our MPs, the people we voted in, understand that, and they actually urge the young people to take up this opportunity because it is meant for them.
Okay.
So they do also have a responsibility, like any other leader, to disseminate this information that comes to them.
We have an MCA here, so we'll hear from him whether he is aware of the Nyota initiative. But Mark, let me bring you in. You were shaking your head earlier on and we're running out of time, so just briefly comment on this. What should the president do now to stabilize the ship? And you were disagreeing with the MCA earlier on. Why?
You know, Trevor, I do understand Mheshimiwa here is a disciple of the Tawe movement led by my good friend Governor George Natembea. But, you know, sometimes in politics it's better to be factually correct than popularly correct. You know, Trevor, even if you don't like President Ruto, over the last year, and factually speaking, if you look at even the economic have made from low inflation levels, you know, our price stability is better, you know, our debt. In fact, in 2023, government was spending about 60% of, you know, government revenue to pay, you know, to pay our debts. The MCA here should be spending time to explain to his youths from his ward, you know, because President Ruto is going to be president till 2032, but of course now let us speak to 2027 that he has been given. There is the Nyota program, there is the Wezo Fund. In fact, in the Wezo Fund we had about 64,000, you know, youths who are able to benefit. Today there's a confirmation of over 200,000 youths who are going to benefit from the Nyota program, etc., etc. So what I've always said fundamentally, you cannot fight a socialist designed government like the UDA government via an uprising. What the president needs to do going forward, I think fundamentally first, he needs to fill the void of, you know, the presence of Raila Odinga, because I don't know whether that via giving a member from his family to join the cabinet, etc., etc. And of course, there will be a lot of political shakeups that are going to happen. Cabinet secretaries whose value were only, you know, there when Raila Odinga was there. Some of them are going to be reshuffled out, and you know, I wouldn't want to give an examples here. I'll be attacked, but you know, people like CS Oparanya are on their way out, and this is
how do you know this?
I mean,
don't mention things you have no idea about, man.
Let me leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to say that I think the void that has been left by Raila Amolo Odinga is something that I think President Ruto has to consider filling out. I'm not really sure. I've heard the public will be speaking about Winnie Odinga being the obvious pick, but I don't, reading from the president's script, particularly when he spoke in Bond, I don't think the president is, because I remember when the president spoke a bit about Winnie Odinga, he spoke in a conclusive way, and to suggest that maybe you'll give him a lesser seat that is not the ministerial job. But all in all,
nobody spoke about that, Mark.
No,
Again,
he spoke in a way.
You have no idea.
He spoke when he spoke about Winnie Odinga. If you remember the way the president was speaking about Winnie Odinga, he spoke good things. Then he finished by saying that he was not logistically able to work with Winnie Odinga until he had to bring Ruth Odinga into.
That was not the context of the conversation, Mark. Again,
I think there's an implicit way in which presidents speak, and for a certain clique of people. But anyway, back to what I was saying, you cannot fight a socialist designed government like the UDA government. The President Ruto has changed this country, and if we are not careful before 2032, we might be like Singapore.
Okay, let me bring in Mudoni on this. Mudoni disagrees vehemently.
Sharply.
This is really a lot, because I do believe I have a right of rebuttal to say something, but there's just a lot to respond, and it might deviate from the main issue. Two issues that I want to raise. First is the issue of where we are as a nation, and what I believe the government should do now with the passing of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and also to rebut to my brother here, Mr. Mokaya.
Hold the microphone closer. Hold the microphone closer.
Yeah, to rebut on what Mr. Mokaya stated, and saying that the young people, almost it's like a spit on the face, or laughing at young people when you say, and especially with my generation, I am one of the first Gen Zs to start with the free primary education, a beneficiary of the free primary education by Mwai Kibaki. And through that program, where we had free primary education, we have gotten a massive, huge youth population of educated young people. And it is indeed the mandate of any government to know what to do with these people. We've had various programs, they're sending Kenyans away, while what the real issue remains, I have gone to school, then what next? Opportunities should be there. It's not just about innovation. I hear people saying innovation. If there are harsh conditions, living conditions, how am I supposed to innovate? How am I supposed to get loans to go and start up a business? Let me give you the categories of youth, and this is just for the information also for the members of the public. There are 5 categories of youth. There are insiders, which I don't think there are any insiders in this group that are here. The insiders are known to be those people who are the youths who are positioned and engaged in governance. Perhaps Mheshimiwa is one of the insiders in this panel, you know. And kudos to him that he's a young elected member of parliament, young elected member of county assembly, because those are the positions that I'll call upon the young people to go for. They are insiders. Then we have the professionals like myself and Wakili here. I don't know if he's really an advocate, if he can spew such ignorance and say that young people are not working hard. There's the disengaged, those youths who feel that they're left out. And it's good for me to give even the percentages. 10% insiders, which are the minorities, less than 10%. Less than 10% professionals. 27% disengaged young people. These are the ones who go to the streets. They don't have job opportunities. They don't have meals. They are living in between poverty lines. We have the disgruntled youths that are frustrated. These ones are the ones who would even throw themselves, you'd hear them throwing themselves where the resources inapigwa, because of the frustration. Then we have this disenfranchised, which is 20%, the disgruntled, which is 36%. Often females, those people who tend not to care or are ignorant and are unaware. Allow me to say this. What is it that we would want to see the president and the government doing? Also, let me give kudos to the young people. We have seen the rise of young people, even in political spaces. Case in point, Babu Owino. His popularity cannot be ignored. He has risen, and this should be a call to young people also to rise and fight for the spaces. What would I want to see perhaps from the government?
Yeah.
What would be a befitting tribute to Raila Amolo Odinga, my friend? it would be to preserve democracy. What would the government do and the leadership? Preserve democracy and protect the freedoms that this man fought for. We would also call upon for institutionalization of his vision, and inclusivity. What's Raila championed for?
Yeah.
What would this mean? They know better. Upholding justice. And these are the things that we fight day and night. Upholding justice and the rule of law. Documenting, what I would also suggest from my end is documenting his legacy.
Okay.
His legacy can be taught in schools. We can have even a national day of celebrating democracy where such things and such statesmanship can be celebrated.
Okay.
Lastly, because I am a Gen Z and as a Gen Z lawyer, listening to the young people. The clarion call would be akwo. Listen.
Okay.
Before they act, before they do anything, let us, young people want to be heard.
Okay.
Listen.
I'll come to feedback in just a short while, but Mokai, I'll give you a chance for rebuttal because I don't remember you saying that young people are not hardworking, but let me hear from you. Let's keep the language civil, advocates, let's keep it civil. Yes.
Trevor, I'll wish to rise above the rebuttal. If you speak and you realize that people you are talking to are not listening, the best thing you do is stop speaking. So what will I expect from government? I'll expect government to create an enabling environment for every young man, every young woman who tries to input effort, who tries to earn a skill, we realize what success looks like. That's the reality of our parents. Parents knew it doesn't matter where you came from. If you went to school, you will get, somebody will employ you, somebody will pay you. If you start a business, somebody will buy from it. So I want the government to create an environment where competence means something, where merit means something. This environment can be in many ways. I've had my panelists allude to something. Whether the government is working or not, there are two things to read from it. Either government is doing something that we're not seeing, or government is doing something that they're not speaking so eloquently about, because again, awareness is something. Or government is not working and we can see. So where that fails or where that falls is debatable. But again, let's understand how things work. It's easy to blame the big man because that get to miss. And this does not in any way try to sympathize with the current regime. It's trying to look at things beyond emotion or beyond my ambition to be member of parliament of Bobasi constituency. Trying to look at things objectively, because the moment you cloud your thinking with your tomorrow, the moment you look beyond the being and focus on the becoming, then you forget the importance of the current moment. We can't look at the 2027 election without realizing the function of our taxes today.
Okay.
We can't look at who should go or who should come in tomorrow. It's wrong for any politician to tell you that forget about the taxes you pay today. Forget about the lunch that you expect to eat today. Forget about the school fees for your children today and wait for me to be a president tomorrow. Our realities are current. Our needs are urgent and they occur today. It's in there is becoming. So unless you focus so well in the being today, you won't become.
Okay.
So we must support, advise, and correct the government today, but not focused on the government tomorrow.
All right, let's bring up some feedback. There's a lot of feedback coming through, and I know you all have something to say, but we've really run out of time. So let's bring up the feedback and see what the people are saying really fast. Samuel Wood says, I concur with several panelists regarding the critical importance of safeguarding the constitutional reforms advocated by Raila Odinga, ensuring that they continue to influence Kenya's inclusive political future. Yes, let's move to the next one. Engineer Nazaro says, Raila Odinga was the true champion of democracy in Africa after Mandela. Raila fought for the second liberation, repealing of Section 2A, freedom of speech and equal sharing of national cake through introduction of devolution. Okay? Bob Otieno Wino says, I see a bright future after Raila because of the successful mandamano by Gen Z against Finance Bill in 2024, which achieved its goal, forcing government to halt it without him having an influence, and was productive than his mandamanos. Okay? Lekishon says, may the young people as well know that the death of Raila should not be politicized. Let haters stay quiet and hypocrites stop milking grief for political gain. As we mourn, let the nation heal together. May his death unify us rather than divide us. R.I.P. Baba. Okay? Remy says, life after Raila Odinga in Kenya marks a new chapter of political transition and opportunity. The nation faces the challenge of redefining and unity beyond one towering figure. This period invites fresh voices and renewed dialogue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time. That's all the time we have. We have to close it from at that point. We'll give you another chance again next time. And thank you all for watching. This has been Daybreak. Coming up next, it's DJs on the decks. We'll show you who it is in just a bit. Bye.